Hi there. These video instructions are for asynchronous lesson number 3, which is a literary analysis quiz. So please make sure you get your resources together in order to take this quiz. You can use all of the different notes that you've taken, your copy of Carvel Wallace's text, and anything else that you think might be helpful. So obviously you fill in the top, your name, your class period, and then there is a reminder here of the roles. So just a reminder that in this unit, you are acting as a freelance writer, and the New York Times has asked you to review Wallace's essay and write a short review analyzing and explaining the different choices that he made in his text. And the reason that you're doing this is because at the end of this unit, eventually you're going to write your own short story about your experience during the pandemic or someone else's experience during the pandemic or a combination of both of your experiences during the pandemic. And we'll get into that later this week. So in order to craft a strong narrative, you want to be really paying attention to the variety of literary elements and devices that people use in their writing. So in order to prepare for your own writing, you're going to analyze Wallace's writing and consider the choices he made. So that's what you're focused on today. So some resources that are going to help you get started. You're definitely going to want the author's choice document, which you can click on here. It's also on Google Classroom. You're also going to want the notes you took during synchronous lesson number 3, which is our most recent class. It was a graphic organizer. You spent some time preparing, and then folks shared out in class their ideas, and you talked and took more notes. So you definitely want those notes. And then the last thing is you also, of course, want your copy of Carvel Wallace's text, and it's linked for your class period right here, and it will take you to the Google Classroom assignment where you annotated the text. Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to decide which prompt you want to answer. You can choose option 1 or you can choose option 2. So option 1 is about the specific textual literary elements like figurative language, dialogue, imagery, those kinds of things that Wallace used. So you can choose to focus on those. Or you can choose to focus on the structure of Wallace's story, and you could choose that second option if that's what you're interested in. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, select one. Or select 2, totally up to you. But then the rest of the questions are going to refer to whichever option you selected. So if you choose option 1 and you're focused on the literary elements, then what you want to do is find a quote from the text that help you answer this question. And the question is right here. So the question is, what is one moment that the author uses a specific type of literary element? And what you need to do is define that element and explain how that element impacted the text overall. So the first question is just copy and paste the quote where you see the example of that element. Then the next question says, what literary or structural choice did Wallace make in the evidence that you identified, which is this one right here, and define the choice. So if you think he used imagery, you're going to say the author used imagery here, define imagery, and then you move on to the next question. So then you need to use reasoning to explain how that specific choice or that structural choice impacted the text overall. So how did that specific example of imagery or something else impact Wallace's overall point of view or overall purpose in his text? The last question is totally based on your opinion. When you think about your own writing, what are the pros and cons of using that literary choice or that structural choice that you identified? So what are some positives? What are some potential negatives? And then the second part of the question is, would you consider using that choice in your own writing? Why or why not? And explain that. So you should have a couple sentences for this next part. Okay, if you have questions, please reach out and let me know.